Hi there, and welcome back. This is Between Two Teeth with Steph and Bob. And Bob, what are we talking about today?
We are going to talk about leadership.
Oh, uh-oh. So we're talking about leadership. Now, do you have any experience being a leader in life?
None whatsoever.
Not one little bit.
But what I would say is all of us are leaders. So I guess I do. If you are a dentist,
Are you a leader of the tooth colony? Is that why they gave you that little tooth on your?
it's a little bit of a.
It's kind of odd for someone to walk around with a tooth on their.
I'm
t-shirt.
just glad I'm not having to hold up the tooth. Did we say that this is between two teeth?
We did.
Okay.
Teeth.
I forgot.
Tooth. Between two teeth.
Between two teeth.
So, okay, so let's talk about leadership. There's all kinds of different directions we can go in this on this topic. Actually, one of the things
is it offensive if I say when you showed up in the office, you're like, I want to be a leader?
Yes, that's absolutely.
Then
offensive.
I will not say that.
However, untrue though. I think most people that go into dentistry, not all, but most people have some aspirations, leadership qualities in some aspect or regard. And leadership takes all kinds of people, and there's so many different types of leadership out there. It's not unique to one experience or one type of personality.
Right.
And so let's talk about a little bit. I'd like to segue into the difference between, do you need experience to be a leader?
Good question. I don't know if I don't think you do, but I think as you have experiences, it makes you a better leader. And part of that is learning, if you can, from your successes and your failures. Now, you recently did, I hate to bring it up, but didn't you do a Cornell leadership program?
I don't know if you've heard of it. Cornell?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well.
But go on.
So Cornell offers a variety of leadership programs, and I took an executive leadership program in hopes primarily to kind of understand and be around people who were in these executive roles. The best thing about this
and it was non-dental.
It was, and that's what I was just getting to. Oh, thank you for jumping to the point. Appreciate it.
That's what I do.
He's here all night. He'll deliver the punchline. So the nice thing about being in an environment where you have other leaders around you and you're an aspiring one is you can quickly learn from them what has worked and what hasn't. And this is not in a dental environment. This is in a corporate world.
And I think it can be important to get out of the dental element. You want to have dental specific things, and you want to have, let's see how the rest of the world's doing things.
And just there's so much content in these programs. However, one of the main things that I picked out was self-awareness. As a leader, you are a lifetime learner, and you are constantly in the pursuit of greater self-awareness every day. Self-awareness is something that I don't think, I know anyone who knows me would tell you I struggle with. I couldn't tell you sometimes how I come across. But after taking some of these courses, and especially getting out into private practice, working alongside other people in our office that I don't necessarily have authority or power over, has taught me the value of self-awareness and working with people versus having people work for you.
One of the best pieces of information I learned from my MBA degree.
Oh, tell me more about this MBA degree.
Yeah, okay, so I did an MBA.
Did you do an MBA?
But dealing with communication, like we've talked about before, dealing with different types of leadership styles, and you may need to be a leader a certain way during a medical emergency in your office. You may need to be very authoritative, but then that's not going to be a way that's going to work for you in other leadership aspects of what's going on.
I couldn't agree more. And the other topic that we brought up, not only self-awareness, and was gender congruity in the office. And what this concept is talking about is that guys and girls are going to relate to each other differently than girls will to girls or guys will to guys. And in dentistry specifically, you tend to have staff that are quite frankly filled with women. And women are going to have different interpersonal communication styles than a guy will with a staff full of women. And so as a young female doc and as a leader in my practice, I've had a huge challenge with, well, how do you relate to other females in a non-threatening way, but that's still authoritative to some degree to get the job done?
To be effective.
To be effective.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You can be the most intelligent person in the room, but if you're not effective and you don't move the needle,
right,
then you're not in a good spot. And I think there's unique nuances there for
there
sure.
are unique challenges, and there's challenges to every realm, whether you're a corporate or private practice, whether you're working with a team of women or whether you're working with a team of guys. And one of the things that we also talked about in this Cornell course was just that, which where it's you have to make sure, or not make sure, you have to be open to different leadership styles, open to different personalities on your team, and that just because you're not being effective one way doesn't mean you won't necessarily be effective another way.
Being self-aware and having people around you who care enough about you and will be honest with you is critical. The most important person realistically that you can have around you is someone who cares about you, will tell you the truth. And that can be difficult because sometimes we're surrounded by people that care about us, but they're afraid to tell us the truth.
Absolutely.
And then it behooves us as leaders to be receptive to that information. And that's super, super difficult.
Giving and receiving feedback is a big element of how teams are functional or dysfunctional.
And that's hard as a new practitioner. That's hard, in some ways, harder as a seasoned practitioner because you get set in your ways and this is the way that it has been done and thus we shall continue that. And you need to change with the times in all sorts of different ways.
How important is it to be in organized dentistry as a new dentist and a younger doc?
I think it's critical. Now you're asking me, I'm not a new dentist, but it's been critical to me and some of the things that organized dentistry has been able to do, especially during COVID. And me on the state board side of the equation, knowing how we were able to work with key stakeholder groups throughout organized dentistry to help reopen dentistry after the sort of the mandated shutdown was pretty critical. And it's a critical part.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that. One of the benefits of organized dentistry, it is a service. And I know we've had a service podcast on here. One of the other ways you serve your profession is through organized dentistry. You could serve on the local level, you could serve on the state level, and you can also serve on the national level.
And also just knowing what's going on. At the state board level, sometimes people are like, well, I didn't know this and this and this. And I'm like, well, it was published in the state board newsletters, but also heavily published within our state society journals. You don't want to be holed up in your office away from other people and not having communication patterns going on.
And as a new doc, it's not like drinking out of a garden hose. You're drinking out of a fire hydrant when you first get out there. And sometimes organized dentistry falls to the wayside. But here's the trick. You're always telling me the most important thing is the most important thing. And that's kind of a phrase we have in our office to highlight a variety of priorities. And I say that specifically meaning that organized dentistry, it needs to be a priority at every phase in your life because the people who are serving through organized dentistry or on the state board.
How many times are you going to say organized dentistry?
One more time, organized dentistry.
Okay, there we go.
And the reason is because as new docs, and I've got several of my colleagues who both feel inclined and also both feel or inclined to serve in organized dentistry from the outset. But I also have several that are trying to start families and they're trying to buy that first house. They're in between jobs and they're just like, when am I supposed to do this?
Yeah.
And I understand
there's a lot of competing
interest in that.
Right.
And so just in close, this whole segment, we're trying to discuss just kind of getting a more open-minded approach there. And that leadership comes in a variety of different packages. And you need to make sure, but it'll behoove our entire profession of dentistry to get involved as best as you can.
And just to know that it takes time, it takes practice, it takes experiences, and to search things out like you did with the Cornell.
Absolutely. There are classes just like this at several universities. And I would encourage new docs, if you're struggling with leadership, or even if you
and
want
more seasoned docs,
to
take the opportunities, do it. It's what I loved. Actually, what I loved most about my MBA program was the leadership and communication.
Good. I'm glad you brought up that MBA again.
So, there we go. Anyways, let's wrap it up.
We'll wrap it up. What I want to leave you guys with is we're doctors, and we are lifelong learners. And don't forget that. We have a service to our patients, our community, and our profession to continue our education and, make it fun at the same time. That's what we're here for.
Gonna have fun.
Can we all wear a tooth like that? Is that okay?
It's gonna be a thing.
Well, I'm Steph, and this is Bob, and this has been another episode of Between Two Teeth.
Between Two Teeth.
Woo! Thanks for tuning in. More to come.
Bye. All right, why don't you post some of these motherfuckers?